Hello, everybody, and welcome to another home workout recorded live from Rex's gym. Let's get started with some walks. Something new, something exciting. Seriously, guys, I like keeping the warm up the same just because it allows me to recheck how my body feels. If you do something different every time, it's kind of hard to get a feeling for how everything is moving that day. Well, now if I do this one and my quads feel fairly good, okay, I don't need to do as much, or I don't need to do any extra rolling or stretching for my hip flexors to begin. But if you like to do some different stuff from time to time, you go right ahead. There's really no right or wrong in this. It's kind of just what you prefer. But if you're going to be doing my training sessions, you're going to be doing these walks for a little while. Let's go into our hinges. Now, I hope you did the recovery workout yesterday. Hope you feel recovered and regenerated for a nice little sweat session today. And let's finish up with some lunges. Now for our prep circuit, if you have one of these, a hip halo or some mini band, a booty band if you will, to put around the knees, you can go for it. If you don't have one of these, don't worry, you can still do this little prep circuit. Prep circuit is going to be plank reaches 6 each side, and then side plank clamshells, also 6 each side for 2 rounds. So we did last week, just adding a rep to it. So the number one objective in the plank reach: keep the hips level, keep the hips tucked, stay nice and tight. Ideally, you shouldn't be able to see from the hips when the arm is being lifted. Hope that makes sense. Here we go, 6 each side. And then we go into our side plank clamshells. Lift the hips up and pushing forward. Keep that straight line from knees to the crown of the head. And from here, open up, hold for a 2 count, control back down. And then we'll go to the other side. Can you hear the neighbor dog having fun with its bowl? Now, important here to keep that straight line from the crown of the head all the way down to the knees. So we don't want those hips to sink back. A good cue I heard the other day is squat it up. So push those hips through to bring it up. All right, that's one round. We have a round left. Lock those hips in. Pay close attention to where you can feel this. It should be side of the hip. Now, today we have 2 circuits. The exercises are actually the same as last week. Just how we're going to fill the circuits in. It's going to be a little bit different. The first circuit, so you have that front to back lunge. So a lunge to the front, stepping back, lunge to the back. Then we have shoulder taps, push up position, tap down, nice and controlled. I don't want to see that stuff. Well, I can't see it, but I don't want you to do it. Prisoner squats, nice and low. And then side plank leg lifts. So in a side plank position, we'll lift the top leg, switch side, lift the top leg. Circuit's gonna go for 8 minutes. We're gonna start with 1 repetition of each exercise. Second round will be 2, third round will be 3, 4, 5, and so on and so on and so on, as much as you can fit into those 8 minutes. After 8 minutes, we're gonna take a little rest, and we're gonna go for our second circuit. Hope that makes sense. If not, just follow along with me, like I'm doing the exact same thing that you're doing. See, I quite like this about this video stuff. People can't ask me questions. I love your questions, guys, but sometimes I know you're just doing it to stall. 8 minutes on the clock, starting in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Front to back lunge. Forward, push straight back, other side. Forward, push straight back, shoulder taps, 1 each side. Prisoner squats, just 1, and then side plank, leg lift. Just because it's 1 doesn't mean we shouldn't make every effort to do it well. Two each side. And 2. 1, 2. In a round of 3. See, this is all pretty straightforward. Control, slow. We're 2 minutes in already, so a quarter of the way in. And then we're up to 4. round of 5. Keep your torso nice and upright in those lunges, nice and tall. And of course, as always, hips level. Halfway through that first circuit. Shoulder taps. Lock the core in, guys. Much important. Now, as I mentioned last week, I know there's a lot of getting up and down off the ground in this one. That's on purpose. A little over 2.5 minutes to go. 6 reps. Shoulder taps. Last minute. Let's see how far we can get in that round of 7. Fifteen seconds for shoulder taps. And time. Whew. Well, I'm warm. Have a little rest and I'll talk you through the second circuit. It has warmed up here to about 3 degrees, so that's good. All right, guys, second circuit, same setup, 8 minutes of work, starting with 1 rep or 1 rep each side, and then building our way up. The first exercise, You can do this with a weight if you want, or you can do it with body weight. I'll show you both. Starting with body weight. Side step hinge. Hands behind your head if you don't have a weight. Step to the side, hinge, drive back. Then do the other side, drive back. If you have a weight, just hold it in front of the chest, and same idea. Just load up that hinge. This should be hamstrings, those muscles in the back of the legs and the glutes. Then we have leg lowers. So you can use a couple of varieties depending on how strong your abs feel today. You can lower the leg in bent position. You can lower the leg in straight position. You just pick which feels best. So we start with 1 each side, 2 each side, 3 each side, blah, blah, blah. Then cross-body mountain climbers. In that same push-up position, I'm going to bring the left knee to the right elbow, rotating your body, and the other way around. Make sure that body twists as you go through the movements. And then last but not least, we have our switch jumps. 3 options, all to do with how high or how much of a height difference there'll be in the exercise. Level 1 is just from that active lunge position, but the top, switch to the other top and back. Level 2, sink down to about halfway and switch. And level 3, go all the way into that deep lunge position and switch. 1 each side, 2 each side, 3 each side, so forth. Hope it all makes sense, guys. As with the previous one, most important thing, maintain good form. I know it's tempting, like, oh, I've got 2 minutes left. If I can just get that round of 6 or 7 in, like, that'll be great. And then you start rushing the exercise, not doing them well anymore, you're defeating the purpose. We're doing high quality exercises, and we don't want any time pressure to stop you from doing the high quality versions of it, because that's how you get injured, right? So that time frame is just to put a limit on it. I could have easily said, okay, we're gonna go up to 6 or 7 or 8, and that's it. It's just a little bit harder because one of us might be done while the other one is not. 8 minutes on the clock, starting in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 3, 2, 1, and go into our side step hinge. Leg lowers. So again, absolutely fine to do this with bent legs. Just make sure that lower back stays on the ground and does not move as you go through the range. Cross-body mountain climbers. Pay close attention to how much rotation there's happening in your body. Here, we want the rotation. Yeah, we want the belly button to be pointing towards the side, towards the side. All right, that was the first round. Only 45 seconds. 45 seconds per round means, oh man, we're gonna get to 20. 2 reps a side. Hamstrings, hamstrings, very good. Two rounds in. Let's go into our round of 3. Hamstrings and lock it out with the glutes. Now guys, I can't say this enough, but keep that whole lower back on the ground. None of it is allowed to leave the ground or even reduce pressure. So make sure you can do it in the bent leg variety, because if you cannot do it here, you won't be able to do it here. Cross bodies and see if we can make that belly button go from side to side here. Hey, to our round of 4. We're 3 minutes in, looking good. Now last week I did get a question, Rex. In the crossbody mountain climbers, my knee didn't actually touch my elbow. That's okay. My knee doesn't touch my elbows either. That has more to do with how long your torso is than with anything else. So don't feel bad if your knee is not quite getting to your elbow. And then 4 switch jumps. Now remember, if you want to stay higher, that's absolutely fine. If you want to go halfway, that's absolutely fine too. If you want to go all the way down, if you can do it pain-free, do it. If you cannot do it pain-free, don't do it. Three minutes to go. That sun is nice. Guys, looking forward to getting back on the ovals. With this, it's gonna be great. Ooh. I can really feel those cross bodies throughout the obliques. Hope you can too. Around 6 already. We have just over 90 seconds left. Now remember what I said after the first circuit. I don't care how many rounds you get. I just care that you do it right, that you work at a relatively high intensity. Doesn't have to be max, just relatively high. Give your body something it's not quite used to. "30 seconds, finish it well." Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time. All right, guys, have a drink. I'll be right back. High quality H2O. Starting in a hip flexor stretch. So, one knee down, one foot down, lift up the belt buckle, push forward without collapsing forward. So we just want to shift the hips while the shoulders stay where they are. That's opening everything up. And this will be a great stretch to do throughout the day if you sit down a lot. People ask, how many times should I stretch? Well, as often as you can, really. So if I say 10 people, I can't do that. Well, then do 5. Do what you can. It's much more important. Don't worry too much about what will be perfect, because honestly, you don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But I know that stretching once a day is better than not stretching. So go for improvement. Progression, not perfection. Wise, wise words. All right, wrist stretch. Fingers down, pointing towards your knees. The whole hand stays on the ground, and from here we're going to shift our body weight back until hopefully our shoulders are behind the wrists. So we don't want the shoulders over the wrists. We want the shoulders to shift back. But you'll feel soon enough when your forearms say no. And I want to make a habit in finishing up with some of that stomach breathing. Today we'll go for the croc position, which just means you're going to lie on your stomach nice and flat. You can have your hands under your head, or you can just have your hands on the side, head to the side. But what I want you to focus on is breathing into the stomach and try to get the air into the flanks and the lower back. Since your stomach is on the ground, you won't be able to push too much air in there. See if we can get the air more towards lower back and flanks. Let's do 10 breaths. It can be hard for some people. Most people are okay with breathing into the front of the stomach. Some people really struggle getting in the side. Some people really struggle getting into the lower back. Can you feel where the air is going is number one. And number two is, can you direct it into a certain place? Look, ideally, especially when racing and when lifting heavy weights, we want to be able to get that breath all around. But from a day-to-day perspective, you don't just want to be breathing out the front either. If you do that, that ab wall tends to get pretty lax, and then that can add to back problems as well. So if we can keep that 360-degree breathing going, we'll be much better off in the long run. So again, check in with yourself. How did that feel? How is your body feeling now? Which exercises agreed with you, which did not? And if you have any questions on how to treat any, well, not treat, because I'm not allowed to diagnose, but any tips or tricks of working around certain injuries, ask and I'll be happy to help. All right, guys, if nobody's told you today, you are an absolute legend. Good start of the week, and I will see you tomorrow.